Yay, I'm finally uploading a game recap before the day of the actual game. Let's just say it's actually kind of nice having a couple days off from Blazer basketball. In this video, we're going to be recapping the Portland Trail Blazers' big win over the Minnesota Timberwolves, which they took in the final minutes of that game. This game is a perfect example of us shooting terribly, but still winning the game because we played the right way. It seems like 1 out of every 10 games, we have a game where we play a good style of basketball, a style that I'm asking for all season long, a style where we cut to the rim when the cuts are there, where we move the ball, and where we attack the rim and don't just simply settle for three-point shot after three-point shot, and a game where we also look to push a little bit in transition, at least a little bit more than we usually do. Yeah, we still almost lost, and that's because we did not shoot well from the three-point line, and whenever we don't shoot well, we're always going to struggle to win games against solid teams, but we put ourselves in a position where a Dame and a CJ3 basically iced the game against the Timberwolves. So in my previous game recap, I talked about the Jake Layman conundrum, and I was curious as to if he would play when CJ returned from injury. Well, he did play, and he took Seth Curry's minutes, which I thought was pretty interesting. We'll see if that lasts, especially since Jake Layman did not shoot the ball too well. I did like his confidence from three-point land, though. He didn't hesitate to let it fly, and even though it resulted in him missing every three-point shot he took, I like that he's shooting the ball confidently. Given the changes in his minutes over the past few games, I do expect him to be inconsistent. I think he needs regular minutes to be able to produce regularly. So you had amazing 24-point Jake Layman against the Phoenix Suns, and then after that against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he didn't shoot well. However, he still cut very well, and he got a couple buckets inside just because of the basket cuts he made. He is by far our best cutter on the team because he knows when to cut, and he cuts hard. A lot of guys will kind of half-heartedly cut across the lane. Jake Layman cuts with a purpose, and Layman is actually very good at finishing once he gets the ball off of a cut. Good cuts aren't productive unless you're able to finish it once you get the ball. I also thought Portland had a lot better energy defensively, especially Jusuf Nurkic, as he did a very solid job on Karl-Anthony Towns when he was matched up against him. Now, Stotts, interestingly enough, decided to roll with Aminu against Towns and Nurkic against Taj Gibson for stretches. I didn't really understand those matchups, but it didn't really burn us, so I can't say I fault Stotts for matching up that way. Overall, I really like the defensive energy our starting front court brings with Harkless, Aminu, and Nurkic, just like they brought last season, especially when we went on that winning streak when they were playing phenomenal defense. Maurice Harkless is a guy that's being bashed way too much by Blazer fans and even some guys that cover the Blazers on the radio. Chad Doing, I'm talking specifically to you, saying that Maurice Harkless doesn't bring anything, which is something that you tweeted out recently. His defense has been phenomenal this year. He brings it on that end of the court. He might have been struggling so far on the offensive end to hit shots, but the past couple games, it looks like he's slowly breaking out of that slump, and I wouldn't even call it a slump. I'd just call it him not really being able to play basketball summer and him having to knock some rust off. But his energy defensively, his effort, his focus, it's been top notch, and he's getting a lot of deflections, and some deflections which led to runouts for the Portland Trail Blazers and some transition opportunities. We're a team that lacks in deflections, so we need Maurice Harkless out there because he's our best player of being able to deflect a pass or make the pass hard for an opposing player, acts which can flip the court into a transition opportunity that has a high success rate for us. I don't know what it is, but even if it's not a deflection, when Maurice Harkless is on the floor, we seem to get a lot more fast break opportunities just based off our defense. Jusuf Nurkic had 22 points and 11 rebounds, and as I said in my mailbag earlier today, he is the most underrated big man in the entire league. This dude has been a stud. He's been better than he's ever been in his career, even better than when he came over after that Denver trade, even better than that 20-game stretch with us when he landed in Portland. You look at his efficiency, it's up. His free throw percentage, it's up. And look at his offensive box plus minus. It was below -1 his entire career. Right now, it's basically at 2. and that's a positive too. I'm still just super impressed with how he's been able to compose himself on the offensive end. He's not throwing up all those crazy flip shots anymore. He's going up strong. And if he's not going up strong, he's finishing some finesse type of layups that are good shots. Basically, he's choosing the right time to go up strong and the right time to kind of use a little bit of finesse. Because with Nurkic, finesse has been looked at as a bad thing because he used way too much of it, but now it seems that he's found the perfect balance between going up strong and being finesse. A lot of that too is just slowing down once he gets the ball inside, especially on a pick and roll. Slowing down, pump faking, getting the defender out of position, slowing down to be able to survey the court for a kick out pass a little bit more, or slowing down just to get his balance so that he can go up strong, because when he was using all that finesse last season, oftentimes it was that he was rushing layups and he was off balance catching the ball and he never took the time to gain his balance. So Nurkic is probably the most improved Trailblazer of the season. He's been very impressive, and he's very impressive against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Looking at tomorrow night's matchup against the Houston Rockets, this is a Houston team that crazily enough is 14th in the West 25 games into the season. I did not see them going 11-14. Chris Paul has seemed to have dropped off so far this year, but he's always a guy that kills Portland, so hopefully we don't let him turn back the clock, because frankly, he only has to turn back the clock to last season. This wouldn't be like when Dwayne Wade went off against us earlier this season. Other than that, it was reported that Houston is heavily considering starting Eric Gordon instead of James Ennis, which would mean that James Harden would be playing the small forward spot, and I think that would play really well into Portland's hand. Instead of having to stick CJ McCollum on a bigger small forward like James Ennis in order to put Maurice Harkless on James Harden, now CJ McCollum will be able to guard Eric Gordon, and Maurice Harkless will be able to match up naturally against James Harden. I think that's the best matchup to put on James Harden. If not Maurice Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu, and Maurice Harkless can guard the power forward. I believe you got PJ Tucker as that power forward, so Maurice Harkless could definitely handle that matchup. And the Rockets' fall this year has been due to their defense, so we have to take advantage of that by looking to push in transition and by just simply moving the ball. This is a team that if you just try and isolate against them, they'll have a lot better success defensively. We saw the first time we played them that they're very bad at scrambling when out of position, and they're very bad at guarding transition. Now, I know they didn't have James Harden for that game, but he's not going to help their defense at all. They also had Carmelo Anthony for that game, and he definitely hurts their defense. They won't have him anymore because he's no longer with the team. But still, we have to take advantage of their defense. They've lost a few games in a row, but they've been on the road, so I am kind of nervous that this is their coming home game where they right their wrongs of the past few games and kind of break out a little bit. We had that type of game with the San Antonio Spurs. We had that type of game with the Golden State Warriors where we lost both those games, and that was teams breaking out of their shell, breaking out of their slump, and having very good games against us. We can't let the Houston Rockets do that. Getting a win right here would be huge, because Minnesota was that type of game that if Portland kept playing bad, if they kept playing a poor style of offense, they would have easily lost. Houston at Houston is another one of these games. If Portland wins this game, then I think they will have corrected that slump that they were in a couple of weeks ago, and it will probably mean they're back to the winning track. Anyway, True Blazer fans, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, go check out my Monday mailbag and leave a question for that. I will be also posting poll questions very shortly, so stay tuned for that. They might already be posted once this video goes up, so make sure you check out the community tab on our channel page, answer those questions, and I will be coming out with another Blazers Pulse episode next weekend. So that's all I got for now. This has been Tori. Peace out, True Blazer fans. Go Blazers.